Welcome to our video from our research project CooPerformance, the digital state-of-the-art agribusiness education for farmer-led enterprises in the agri-food value chain. In this video, we will introduce you to the agricultural and cooperative sector in Germany. So, the German agricultural sector. In 2018, there were 266,700 farms in Germany, with an average size of 62 hectares. We can see that in 2018, 13% of the farms had more than 100 hectares, which represented around 60% of the land in Germany. On the other side, at the same year, 9% of the farms had less than 5 hectares, which represented 2% of the land. If we see the evolution comparing with the year 1995, we can see that very small farms have decreased their number, while very large farms have increased their size. Regarding the location, the distribution of these farms, we can see that in west and south parts of Germany, farms have a smaller size compared to the size of the farms in east and north Germany, being the darker blue, the farmers with a larger size. This has to do with historical reasons. Going more into details, we see that 9 out of 10 German farms are run by families. In 2016, there were around 1 million farm workers, with around half of them being family members, 22% being permanent employees, and 30% being seasonal workers. Because of mechanization, the need of employment in the agricultural sector has reduced itself 56% in the last 20 years. Moreover, farming remains a male-dominated sector where 64% of workers are males and less than 10% of the managers of farms are females. Regarding the location of production, we can see that cattle, dairy cow, and fattening cows are spread, in the north and also in the south of Germany. We see pigs also in the north and west of Germany, hence in the north, a bit on the west and a bit on the east of Germany. Cereals widely spread in the west and south of Germany, maize on few locations, potatoes also widespread across Germany, fruits also spread in some locations of Germany, field vegetables also here, and then wine in the southwest of Germany. Regarding some numbers of productions, you can see that in Germany, there are over 200 million animals whose feeding represents the use of 60% of agricultural. In terms of cereals, Germany produced 38 million tons, mainly winter wheat, rye, and winter barley. Another important production is winter rape with 3.6 million tons, potatoes with 8.9 million tons, and sugar beets with 26.2 million tons. Regarding the relevance of German agriculture in the European Union, in the 28 countries conforming the European Union, we can see that Germany is very important in terms of producing milk, pigs, and a little less in terms of cattle. Around 20% of the European milk is produced in Germany. Another number relevant here is forage plants, where we see that Germany represents 27% of the EU 28 production. The German agricultural system is also linked to the international trade via imports and exports. The European Union is its main partner in terms of imports and exports, where we can see that around 70% of the imports that come to Germany are originated in the European Union, and 77% of the German exports go also to the European Union. Being one of the most important countries for German trade, the Netherlands
That's for some principles, and now I will quickly give you the idea about the importance of German cooperatives, agricultural cooperatives on the markets in Germany. So 2/3 of the German milk markets is done by cooperatives, dairy cooperatives. A little bit more than 50% of German grain trade is done by cooperatives. The trade cooperatives then in the livestock sector, livestock trade, and also slaughtering is 1/3 done by cooperatives, and the wine growers sector, it's also 1/3. By these numbers, you see the cooperatives, they are not the only actor on the markets, and then that's why I refer to the mentioning of competition. So they are in a competition, and sometimes also you have the impression, for example, in the grain trade, that the farmer likes to have two partners. One, the cooperative, where he is a member, where he can have influence, but on the other hand, he likes to have a trader, a private trader, where he also can trade with and try to make a better price or see what the price on that side will be. So it's a very economic and very entrepreneurial behavior on German agricultural markets. So this is the number of the cooperatives by the end of 2020. So in total, it's 1,766. I mentioned already some of the groups. I will not mention them individually now. We can do that later on, but I will give you a special hint on the farming cooperatives, which you see at the right hand below. These are farming cooperatives, which are the successors of the former agricultural producer cooperatives in East Germany, in the German Democratic Republic, in the GDR. Many of them in 1990 oriented themselves. They had the choice, what will we do in the future? Will we stay a kind of cooperative, a kind of common farming? Will we go for individual farming? Will we go for another legal form? They had their open choice what they were going to do in the year 1990, 1991. And many of them decided to stay in this bigger form of a farm with 2,000 hectares, 3,000 hectares. And about 50% decided to stay or to change into a cooperative after the new German law, to enter a free cooperative. And the other 50%, they decided for other legal forms like a shareholders company or a company with restricted liability. A little bit it depended on the consultants they found, and of course, if they found a cooperative consultant, he looked for cooperatives, and the other a lawyer. He more consulted in the direction of a society of limited liability. So I can only give some flashes on these different topics, which would be worth discussing themselves alone for more time. This is to give you an idea about the economic potential of this organization we at the German Raiffeisen Association represent. It's in 2020, it was a total turnover of some 65 billion euros, the most important in the purchasing and marketing sector. That means trading grains, trading crops, and also supplying farmers with pesticides, fertilizers, and so on and so on. Most important sector, the green one. Then we have the dairy sector, also important here in Germany, with 13.5 billion euros. And the other, the cattle and meat sector, you see 6.5 billion euros, fruit and vegetable, farming cooperatives, and wine growers cooperatives, which are in contrast to Spain and Romania, a little bit lower importance here in Germany because of climatic conditions which are not so favorable in any part of Germany. So, just a moment. No, sorry. One more back. Yeah. This is to show you the development over time. What we've up to now, it was only a flash for the moment. But of course, there is a dynamic economic and structural development within the cooperative sector. In Germany, you can see it, the number has gone down, the number of cooperatives from more than 20,000 after the Second World War down to what you've seen before. And at the same time, the turnover, the added turnover of all these cooperatives has grown and is a little bit stagnating in the last 4 years at a level of 63, 64, 65 billion euros. We had after 2010, 2011, 12, 13, we had high prices worldwide in most commodities, and at that time there was a rise in turnover, but in the last 5 years prices are more or less stagnating with some volatility. So then there is only few potential in the German market, in the European market, to rise turnover still. Also, the agricultural production in Germany is stagnating because the potential is limited, and we now have a lot of discussion about environmental policy, about reducing pesticide, reducing fertilizers, giving space for natural resources. All this makes clear that you cannot grow so fast as we did in the past. Yes, this is, I think, more or less the same. Then just 3 slides to give you an idea about the entrepreneurial structure of the cooperatives in the different sectors we represent. One, the most important sector, as I said before, is the supply and marketing cooperatives. They sell crops and supply the farmers with their needs. We have at the local level 270 local cooperatives, but that means they are not still only working on a village level, but today they more or less work on a county level, just to give you an idea. And you can see the differentiation after turnover per cooperative. So over 50 million is quite important already. So you need a certain economic size to really be competitive in serving a modern farmer, who of course also develops. Just to give you the number, 20 years ago in Germany, there were 500,000 farmers. Today, it's 250,000 farmers. So the number has halved. It's only 50% left. The farms are getting bigger. They're getting more professional, more entrepreneurial. And so with this, the cooperatives have to develop themselves. In this sector, we have a two-stage structure still. That means we have also regional cooperatives where locals have come together in the past to form regional co-ops for their international trade objectives, also for better buying from industry like agricultural machine industry, fertilizer industry, chemical industry. There are these 5 central cooperatives played an important role. And the biggest one is the BayWa in München, which meanwhile, it is a cooperative company. It's a cooperative shareholding company with worldwide activities like many other cooperative companies in France, in Spain, or whatsoever. So just then a look to the dairy sector. These are the 5 major dairy cooperatives in Germany. They make up for, you can see that roughly already for 2/3 or more of the turnover in the dairy sector. We have still in total 170, as you see below, cooperatives, but only 33 of these cooperatives in Germany, dairy cooperatives, they are producing themselves. The other one, they are only collecting milk from farmers, putting it together and then delivering it to cooperative processors. Why is this so? Simply, just in a word, you know, the retail sector in Germany, like in many other countries, consists only of 5 or 6 major players. They make up for 80–85% of total turnover in the retail sector. And especially in the dairy sector and the milk sector, you can say that 90% of what consumers buy in milk products goes through 5 channels like Aldi, Lidl, you may know these names, Rewe, Edeka, these are the so, and if you want to trade with such big retail trader, as a local cooperative from a village, you don't have any chance to play a role. That's one of the most important reasons why we have this kind of structure, like the biggest German Deutsches Milchkontor, which have a turnover of 5.5 billion euros in 2018. And they have around 10 or 11,000 member farmers. So although that represents a type of cooperative today under, I must say, the conditions of Germany, otherwise they couldn't fulfill their function, their cooperative function for their members. We know in the past, maybe they started with 20, 50, 100 members, but today things are different. In the meat sector, there is one major cooperative slaughterhouse, Westfleisch in Westphalia, and one a little bit smaller one. But there are a lot of trading cooperatives and also, not to forget, breeding cooperatives, where farmers come together with special breeding interests and use these breeding cooperatives, for example, for developing new breeding techniques, but also for exporting high-value breeded cattle to third countries, for example. So I heard that you will talk about new cooperatives and energy cooperatives later on, so I will leave that out. But these are these 853 cooperatives in the renewable energy sector. some factors of success for cooperatives in the agricultural field, but I think it's true also for other, where you have to have a strong position on the market so that you can represent and can promote the interests of your farmer members. If you are a only small and weak cooperative, you will not be able to work for the interests of your member farmers. Competition as a key word for German agricultural cooperatives. Competition has always been a clear principle. They have never asked for special rights, for special political treatment. But of course, on the other hand, they want equal and fair conditions for competition on the market. Professional management, of course, is important, but what is even more important is that members are really aware of their duties and that the members really play their role in the cooperative. So the cooperative cannot work if it's not really inspired and directed by members who see the common interests of members and who work for their colleagues within the cooperative and in guiding the cooperative, in directing the cooperative through the future. And the last point here, that's what I showed you before, a strong cooperative organization is can be and is a very important factor for cooperative success. So then let's go on. Further factors for success. A multi-level cooperative system. I showed you the regional and national structure of the cooperative system here in Germany. And I named in our German experience the audit. The cooperative audit is a very important factor of success. And combined with it is, I reiterate, is the obligatory membership of co-ops in these cooperative auditing associations. Of course, everybody will ask very quickly, why does it have to be obligatory? Is it against freedom that they cannot decide whether to be a member or not to be a member? But just to take this question in advance, if it should rise, it was brought to the Constitutional Court in Germany by a cooperative, I think 25 years ago already. And this cooperative exactly asked this question, why do I have to be a member of such an auditing system? I don't want that. And brought it to the Constitutional Court, the highest court in Germany. And the Constitutional Court said, no, this is okay. This is in the interest of all member cooperatives, and to secure this benefit for all cooperatives, it is important that every cooperative is a member of this system. So this is not something of the past 100 years ago. It was confirmed by the Constitutional Court of the Federal Republic of Germany with a free and open constitution, democratic constitution. So just to give you the background on this special regulation. Very important is a clear and legal and regulatory framework. We experienced this in the term and in the run of the reunification in the 1990. This was one of the most important steps was that already on the 1st of July of 1990, only 6 months after the wall fell, the West German economic legal framework was introduced to East Germany by decision of the East German parliament. And for the company, this was really important because they knew now, okay, how do we have to behave, what do we have to look for, and they had a clear regulatory framework and could quickly, more or less quickly, adapt to the new conditions in a market economy of the unified Germany, and also being a part of the European Union at the same time. And lastly, independence from the state that I mentioned before. This is a very strong German tradition, I think, in all other countries as well. But we also have examples in history and in international context where cooperatives are not always used in this sense, and where they fail because it lacks the support of their members, it lacks being independent from government, and so on and so on.